The communication array on the bridge of the UES Thunderbolt crackled to life with an urgent message. Captain Li Wan straightened in his command chair as the priority signal cut through the peaceful silence of deep space.
Ow!
His crew turned there. Attention to the main screen where Admiral Kim Tae-ho's weathered face appeared. "Captain Lee, we have a situation," the Admiral said, his voice carrying the weight of grave news. "The Galactic Council has issued their final ultimatum. You need to return to Earth immediately." Li Wan felt his stomach tighten. For 50 years, humanity had been pushing outward into the galaxy, establishing colonies and research stations beyond the Sol system. The 12 alien species that made up the Galactic Council had watched with growing concern as humans expanded their reach. What started as warnings had escalated into threats, and now it seemed those threats were about to become reality. "Are there demands, sir?" Li Huan asked, though he already suspected the answer. Complete withdrawal from all territories beyond Luna, dismantling of all military installations. "Submission to Council oversight of all human activities," Admiral Kim replied. "They're giving us 72 hours to comply." The bridge fell silent. Engineer Choi Min-ho looked up from his console, his face pale. Lieutenant Commander Song Yuna clenched her fists at her station. They all knew what this meant. The Council wasn't just demanding surrender, they were demanding the end of human independence. "And if we refuse?" Li Wan asked, though he already knew that answer too. "Complete annihilation of the human species," Admiral Kim said flatly. "They've made it clear they consider us a threat that needs to be eliminated or controlled." Li Huan stood and walked the main view screen, staring out at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien fleets were already moving into position. The Vexstar, with their massive plasma cannons. The Kethmoran, with their gravity weapons that could crush entire ships. The ancient Nalthic, with technology that humanity barely understood. "Sir, with respect. We can't just give up everything we've built," Song Yuna said, her voice tight with controlled anger. "Our colonies, our research stations, our freedom to explore. They're asking us to become prisoners in our own solar system." Admiral Kim nodded grimly. "The Council sees our expansion as aggressive. They claim we're destabilizing the galaxy's balance of power. But the truth is, they're afraid. For the first time in thousands of years, a new species is rising that they can't control." "What's our response going to be?" Li Huan asked. "That's being decided now. The world government is in emergency session. But I wanted you to know first, because your ship may play a crucial role in what comes next." Li Huan glanced around his bridge. The UES Thunderbolt looked like any other human cruiser. Standard fusion reactors, conventional weapons, typical human engineering, but appearances could be deceiving. Hidden beneath the ordinary exterior was technology that would shock the galaxy. "Dr. Park Soo-jin is standing by in the lab," Choi Min-ho reported quietly. "She says the systems are ready for activation on your order." Li Wan nodded. Dr. Park had spent 15 years developing the technology that could change everything. Dark matter manipulation. The ability to harness the invisible forces that made up most of the universe. Galactic Council had no idea what they were really facing. "Captain, I need you to understand something," Admiral Kim continued. "Council's fleets are already moving. Intelligence reports massive formations heading toward our outer colonies. They're not planning to wait for our answer. They're positioning for a first strike." "How many ships?" Song Yuna asked. "Over 3,000 vessels from all 12 species. Dreadnoughts, battle cruisers, carrier groups. It's the largest military force ever assembled in this galaxy." Numbers were staggering. Humanity's entire fleet consisted of fewer than 200 ships. Even with their technological advantages, they would be outnumbered 15 to 1. "There's something else," Admiral Kim said. "Ambassador Jang Du-hayan is being recalled from the Council chambers. They've made it clear that diplomatic solutions are no longer possible. The Council believes humanity is too primitive and aggressive to be trusted with advanced technology." Li Huan felt anger rising in his chest. The aliens spoke of humans as if they were children playing with dangerous toys. They saw human expansion as the reckless behavior of an inferior species that needed to be controlled or eliminated. "About the other species in the galaxy?" Choi Min-ho asked. "Surely some of them support our right to exist freely." The Council has made sure that anyone who might sympathize with us stays silent, Admiral Kim replied. They've spent centuries building a system where they hold all the power. Any species that challenges them gets crushed. Li Huan walked back to his command chair and sat down heavily. The weight of what was coming pressed down on him. Earth's children scattered across dozens of worlds, all of them now targets for alien weapons. Research stations where human scientists worked to unlock the secrets of the universe. Colonies where families had built new lives among the stars. "Sir, what are your orders?" Song Yuna asked. "Set course for Earth. Maximum speed," Li Huan commanded. "And send a message to Dr. Park. Tell her to begin final preparations. We may need to reveal our true capabilities sooner than we hoped." As the Thunderbolt changed course and accelerated toward Earth, Li Huan thought about the irony of the situation. The Galactic Council saw humanity as primitive and dangerous. They believed human technology was crude and inferior. What they didn't know was that humans had been watching them for decades, studying their weaknesses, learning from their mistakes. The Council's arrogance would be their downfall. They assumed that, because they had ruled the galaxy for millennia, they always would. They couldn't imagine that a young species might develop something they had never seen before. Captain Choi Min-ho said quietly, "The dark matter containment systems are showing green across the board. Dr. Park's technology is ready." Li Huan smiled grimly. "Let the aliens come with their massive fleets and their ancient weapons. We're about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology. It was their refusal to kneel before anyone, no matter how powerful they claimed to be." The 72-hour countdown had begun. Soon the galaxy would discover what happened when you threatened the children of Earth. The massive shadow of Admiral Typhon's flagship fell across Earth like an eclipse. The biomechanical construct was larger than Earth's moon, its living hull pulsing with alien energy. 12 different species had contributed their most advanced warships to create an armada that stretched across space for millions of kilometers, Captain. Li Huan stood on the bridge of the UES Thunderbolt, watching the alien fleet take position around Earth. His ship floated among the human defensive formation, looking small and insignificant compared to the massive alien vessels. To any observer, the Thunderbolt appeared to be just another human cruiser, desperately outmatched by the overwhelming force arrayed against them. "Their scanners are sweeping us again," reported Lieutenant Commander Song Yuna from her tactical station. Same results as before. "They're reading standard fusion reactors, conventional missile systems, basic human engineering."
Li Huan
nodded. With satisfaction, the deception was working perfectly. For 15 years, humanity's best scientists had worked to create the ultimate disguise. Every sensor reading, every energy signature, every scan would show exactly what the aliens expected to see: primitive human technology that posed no real threat.
Dr. Park. Status report on the containment systems.
Li Huan called to the ship's intercom.
Deep within the ship's hidden laboratory.
Dr. Park Sujin monitored displays that would have shocked the galaxy's greatest scientists. Dark matter containment fields held invisible forces that existed beyond normal space and time. Energy readings that would have been impossible according to galactic science flickered across her screens. "Systems are stable, Captain," Dr. Park replied through the com. "The dark matter reactors are operating at 15% capacity. The aliens have no idea what they're looking at because their sensors can't detect what exists in dimensional space." Engineer Choi Min-ho worked at his station, his hands dancing over controls that managed power systems unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The ship's true weapons remained hidden behind holographic projections and false energy signatures. To alien eyes, they appeared to be facing obsolete human technology. "The Vexstar Dreadnought is hailing us," Song Yuna reported. "They want to speak with our commander." "Put them through," Li Huan ordered. The main screen filled with the image of a Vexstar commander, his insectoid features twisted with arrogance. Multiple eyes focused on Li Huan with obvious contempt. "Human captain," the alien spoke, his translated voice dripping with disdain. "I am Commander Nexus of the Vexstar Second Fleet. Your primitive vessels are an insult to true military power. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick." Li Wan maintained a calm expression. "We're prepared to defend our world, Commander. Your council's ultimatum was rejected." The Vexstar commander made a sound that might have been laughter. "Defend? With what? Your crude fusion engines and chemical propellant weapons? We have weapons that can vaporize your entire fleet in seconds." "Then why haven't you?" Li Huan asked quietly. "Because watching you struggle will be amusing," Nexus replied. "The Council wants to make an example of your species. Other young races will learn what happens to those who refuse to submit." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Li Huan looked around at his crew, seeing the controlled anger in their faces. The aliens didn't just want to defeat humanity. They wanted to humiliate them first. "Captain, we're receiving a priority message from Admiral Kim Tae-ho." Choi Min-ho reported. Admiral Kim's face appeared on a secondary screen. Behind him, the command center on Earth buzzed with activity. "Li, the Council's ultimatum has expired." Ambassador Jung Do-haeon made one final attempt at negotiation, but they laughed at him. "What did they say?" Li Huan asked. "Overseer Kronos called humans barely evolved primates who should be grateful for the chance to serve their betters," Admiral Kim replied, his voice tight with anger. "He said our technology is so primitive that studying it would be a waste of time." Li Huan felt a cold smile cross his face. The Council's arrogance was beyond anything he had imagined. They were so convinced of their superiority that they couldn't conceive of being wrong. "Sir, are we authorized to proceed with the dark matter protocols?" Li Huan asked. "You are," Admiral Kim confirmed. "Show them what happens when they underestimate humanity." Dr. Park's voice came through the intercom. "Captain, I'm reading massive energy buildups across the alien fleet. They're preparing to attack." On the tactical display, the alien armada began to move with practiced precision. Vexstar plasma ships took forward positions while Kethmoran gravity cruisers flanked them. The ancient Nelthic battleships hung back, their commanders confident that the younger species could handle these primitive humans. "They're positioning exactly as we predicted they would," Song Yuna observed. "Their formation assumes we'll try to meet them head-on with conventional tactics." "Of course they do," Li Huan replied. "They've been fighting the same way for thousands of years. You can't imagine that someone might have developed something completely different." The alien fleet's movements were textbook perfect, following strategies that had conquered hundreds of worlds. They arranged themselves to maximize firepower while protecting their command vessels. Every formation, every tactic, was based on conventional, three-dimensional warfare. "Captain, the Kethmoran gravity ships are charging their weapons," Choi Min-ho reported. "They're targeting our defensive platforms first." "Let them," Li Huan said calmly. "Dr. Park, begin preliminary activation of the dark matter systems. Keep them at minimum power until I give the word." "Understood, Captain. The systems are responding beautifully. We're drawing power from dark matter reactions that exist partially outside normal space-time." The alien fleet continued its advance, commanders aboard their massive ships discussing the swift victory they expected. The humans had arranged their pathetic fleet in a defensive formation that would be swept aside within minutes. Some alien officers even placed bets on how long the human resistance would last. "They're treating this like a training exercise," Song Yuna observed, monitoring alien communications. "They're actually discussing which ships will get the honor of destroying which human vessels." "Perfect," Li Huan replied. "The more confident they are, the bigger the shock will be." Dr. Park's excited voice came through the intercom. "The dark matter containment fields are stable across all systems. We're ready to show the galaxy what real advanced technology looks like." Li Huan stood and walked to the center of the bridge. Around Earth, the most powerful military force in galactic history prepared to crush what they saw as primitive resistance. They had no idea they were about to witness the birth of a new age. "All stations, prepare for combat," Li Huan ordered. "Today, we teach the galaxy that humanity bows to no one." The first volley from the alien fleet lit up space like a deadly fireworks display, as Vexstar plasma cannons unleashed streams of superheated energy that vaporized 3 human defensive stations in seconds. The massive beams carved through metal and ceramic as if they were paper, leaving nothing but glowing debris Commander Nexus watched from his dreadnought's bridge as Kethmoran gravity weapons crushed 2 human frigates into balls of twisted metal. The alien commanders exchanged satisfied glances. This battle was proceeding exactly as expected. The primitive humans were being swept aside with embarrassing ease. Pathetic, muttered Admiral Typhon from his biomechanical flagship. Their shields cannot even slow our weapons. This will be over in minutes. On Earth, millions watched the battle through emergency broadcasts. The alien armada advanced with methodical precision, their weapons systematically destroying human defensive positions. It looked like the end of human independence, perhaps the end of humanity itself. Captain Li Wan stood calmly on the bridge of the UES Thunderbolt as explosions lit up the space around them. His ship rocked slightly as a near miss from a Vexstar. Plasma beams superheated their hull armor, but the Thunderbolt remained untouched by direct fire. The aliens were saving the human ships for last, wanting to savor their complete victory. "Sir, we've lost contact with Defense Platform 7, reported Lieutenant Commander Song Yuna. The Kethmoran gravity cruiser just compressed it into a cube, acknowledged. Li Wan replied, his voice steady. Dr. Park, are all systems ready? Deep in the ship's hidden laboratory? Dr. Park Sujin's hands moved across control panels that managed forces beyond the aliens' understanding. The dark matter containment fields hummed with invisible energy that existed in dimensions the galaxy had never discovered. All systems green, Captain, Dr. Park responded. Dark matter reactors are stable. Weapon systems are charged and ready. The moment we activate, there's no going back. The entire galaxy will know what we've accomplished. Engineer Choi Minho monitored his displays as the ship's true power systems prepared to come online. 15 years of secret development had led to this moment. Technology that would revolutionize warfare throughout the galaxy was about to be revealed. Captain, the alien fleet is moving into their final attack formation, Song Yuna reported. They're preparing to target the remaining human ships directly. Li Huan nodded. The trap was perfect. The aliens had positioned themselves exactly where humanity needed them. Their arrogance had made them predictable, and predictability was a weakness that could be exploited. Open a channel to Admiral Kim Tae-ho, Li Huan ordered. Admiral Kim's face appeared on the screen, his expression grim but determined. Behind him, Earth's command center buzzed with controlled tension. Admiral requests permission to activate dark matter protocols, Li Huan said formally. Permission granted, Captain, Admiral Kim replied. Show them what humanity is really capable of. Li Huan turned to his crew. These men and women had kept humanity's greatest secret for years, waiting for this moment. Now it was time to change the galaxy forever. All stations activate dark matter protocols, Li Huan commanded. Let's give them a proper introduction. To human technology, the transformation began immediately. Whole sections on the EU's Thunderbolt slid away like flower petals opening, revealing weapon systems that seemed to shimmer and bend light around them. The ship's disguised exterior fell away, exposing technology that existed partially outside normal space and time. Dr. Park's voice rang with excitement through the intercom. Dark matter reactors at full power. Weapon systems online, Captain. We're drawing energy from the invisible matter that makes up most of the universe. The aliens have never seen anything like this. On the alien flagship, sensor operators stared at their displays in confusion. The readings from the human ship had changed completely, where moments before they had detected primitive fusion reactors. Now their instruments showed energy signatures unlike anything in their databases. What is happening? Demanded Admiral Typhon. How can a primitive human vessel generate those power levels? Commander Nexus watched in disbelief as the UES Thunderbolt's true form was revealed. The ship seemed to flicker in and out of normal space as if it existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Impossible, he whispered. Their technology readings were confirmed. Fusion reactors, chemical weapons, standard human engineering. Dr. Park initiated the first dark matter torpedo launch. The weapon phased through normal space like a ghost, invisible to the alien sensors because it traveled primarily through dark matter dimensions. To their instruments, nothing had been fired at all. The torpedo struck Admiral Typhon's massive flagship directly amidships. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself seemed to tear open as the weapon's dark matter payload interacted with normal matter in ways the aliens had never imagined possible. The explosion existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Normal space-time buckled and twisted as dark matter forces were released in a controlled reaction. The biomechanical flagship, larger than Earth's moon, shuddered as gravitational anomalies tore through its living hull. "Damage report," Admiral Typhon screamed as his bridge shook violently. "Sir, we're reading impossible energy signatures throughout the ship," his sensor operator replied. "The explosion seems to be occurring in spaces that don't exist according to our physics." 3 Kethmoran cruisers that had been flanking the flagship were caught in the dark matter reaction's secondary effects. The gravitational distortions created by the weapon pulled them into impossible geometries, crushing their hulls in ways that violated every law of physics the aliens understood. Lieutenant Commander Song Yuna coordinated the next phase of the attack, targeting the Vexstar command vessels. "Dark matter torpedoes loaded and ready. Fire at will," Li Wan ordered. More ghostly weapons phased through space, visible to alien sensors, but devastatingly real in their effects. Each torpedo carried technology that the galaxy's greatest scientists would have declared impossible. Dark matter manipulation on a scale that turned the universe's hidden forces into instruments of war. "Commander." Nexus watched his fleet's formation dissolve into chaos as weapons they couldn't see or track struck his ships with pinpoint accuracy. His dreadnought's shields, powerful enough to stop stellar plasma, offered no protection against attacks that existed primarily in dimensions they couldn't access. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," he ordered desperately. "Focus all fire on that human vessel." The alien fleet's response was immediate and overwhelming. Hundreds of plasma beams, gravity weapons, and exotic energy projectors focused on the used Thunderbolt. Enough firepower to destroy a small moon converged on the single human ship. But the Thunderbolt was no longer entirely in normal space. Engineer Choi Min-ho had activated the ship's dark matter displacement system, allowing it to phase partially out of reality. The alien weapons passed through empty space, where the ship appeared to be, while the Thunderbolt struck back from impossible angles. "Impossible," shouted Overseer Kronos from his ancient battleship. "No species has ever developed technology that operates outside normal space-time." Dr. Park's voice crackled with triumph through the intercom. "Captain, the main dark matter beam cannon is ready. This will show them what real advanced technology looks like." Li Wan smiled grimly. "Fire." The beam that erupted from the UES Thunderbolt cut through the alien formation like a blade through paper. It existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, making it impossible to deflect or avoid. The weapon carved through the center of the alien fleet. Passing through shields and armor as if they didn't exist, the galaxy watched in stunned silence as humanity revealed its true nature. The hunters had become the hunted. The Galactic Council's mighty armada reeled in confusion as the UES Thunderbolt danced through space like a ghost. The single human vessel phased in and out of normal reality, striking from angles that should have been impossible. Every alien. Commanders struggled to understand how their sensors could track nothing, while their ships exploded around them. Admiral Typhon's flagship listed heavily to one side. Massive breaches in its biomechanical hull leaking atmosphere and strange alien fluids into space. The creature that formed the ship's living core writhed in agony from wounds that existed in dimensions it couldn't comprehend. "All vessels concentrate fire on the human ship," Typhon commanded. "Fighting?" "Whatever technology they're using, it cannot protect them forever." But the alien weapons found only empty space. The Thunderbolt existed partially outside normal reality, its dark matter drives allowing it to slip between dimensions like water through a net. Captain Li Wan's ship struck again and again, each attack more devastating than the last. "Sir, we're reading massive power signatures throughout their fleet," reported Lieutenant Commander Song Yuna. "They're bringing their most powerful weapons online." Overseer Kronos aboard his ancient battleship had seen enough. His vessel was over 1,000 years old, equipped with weapons that had conquered countless worlds. Temporal displacement fields and quantum armor had made his ship invincible for longer than some species had existed. Activate the time distortion. Cannons Kronos ordered his crew. We will slow their vessel to a crawl and destroy it piece by piece. The ancient weapons fired streams of twisted space-time at the UES Thunderbolt. These weapons had never failed to stop an enemy vessel. Time itself would slow around the target, making them helpless against conventional attacks. But dark matter existed outside the normal flow of time. Dr. Park. Sujin watched from her laboratory as the alien temporal weapons had no effect on their ship. The dark matter fields that powered their vessel operated in dimensions where time moved differently. Captain, their temporal weapons are useless against us, Dr. Park reported with obvious excitement. Dark matter exists independently of normal space-time. We're essentially immune to their most advanced technology. Captain Li Huan smiled as he watched the alien fleet's growing desperation. Dr. Park, prepare a full spread of dark matter torpedoes. Target the ancient battleship directly. With pleasure, Captain. 6 torpedoes phased out of normal space and struck Kronos' supposedly invincible vessel. The weapons bypassed every defense the ship carried, striking the core systems directly. The ancient hull buckled as dark matter reactions tore through systems that had protected the ship for centuries. Impossible. Kronos screamed as his bridge filled with smoke and sparks.
Oh.
Our quantum armor should have deflected any weapon. Ship's artificial intelligence spoke in confused tones. Overseer, the attacking weapons do not exist in normal space. Our defenses cannot interact with forces that operate outside standard physics. Admiral Kim Taeho's face appeared on screens throughout the human fleet. His expression was grim but determined as he addressed not just his own forces, but the entire galaxy that was watching this battle unfold. Citizens of Earth and colonies. Throughout human space, Admiral Kim began. For too long, we have been forced to hide our true capabilities. The Galactic Council believed they could threaten us with extinction because they saw us as primitive and weak. The Admiral paused as another explosion lit up the alien fleet. The UES Thunderbolt had just destroyed 3 more alien cruisers with a single dark matter beam. Today, we reveal the truth. Humanity has not been developing primitive technology. We have been mastering forces that the Council never knew existed. We have learned to harness the dark matter that makes up most of the universe. On alien bridges throughout the fleet, commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. The readings they were getting from the human ship violated every principle of physics they understood. Energy signatures that should have been impossible. Weapons that existed in dimensions they couldn't access. The humans have been deceiving us for decades, Commander Nexus realized aloud. They allowed us to believe they were inferior while they developed technology beyond our understanding. Engineer. Choi Min-ho worked at his station, monitoring systems that would have amazed the galaxy's greatest scientists. The ship's dark matter reactors were operating at only 30% capacity, yet they were generating more power than most alien dreadnoughts. Captain, all secondary systems are online, Choi Min-ho reported. We're ready to reveal the full scope of our capabilities. Do it, Li Wan ordered. Space around Earth suddenly filled with new energy signatures. What had appeared to be empty space moments before now revealed 12 identical vessels. The UES Thunderbolt was not alone. Humanity had built an entire fleet of dark matter warships. The alien commanders watched in horror as 12 human vessels decloaked around their formation. Each ship was identical to the Thunderbolt, each one equipped with the same impossible technology. The humans had not just developed one experimental vessel, they had created an entire new class of warship. By the ancient gods, whispered a Nalthic captain. How many ships do they have hidden throughout the galaxy? Admiral Kim Taeho continued his broadcast. The Council demanded our submission. They threatened us with extinction. They believed their superior numbers and ancient technology made them invincible. They were wrong. The 13 human ships moved in perfect coordination. Dark matter drives allowed them to appear and disappear throughout the alien formation like phantoms. Their weapons struck from impossible angles, bypassing every defense the aliens had developed over millennia of warfare. Captain Li Huan coordinated the attack from his command chair. His tactical display showed the alien fleet's formations crumbling. As ship after ship fell to weapons they couldn't understand or defend against, "All vessels, execute pattern Delta 7, Liwan commanded. Show them what happens when they threaten the children of Earth." The human fleet spread out through the alien formation, each ship targeting specific enemy vessels. Dark matter torpedoes phased through space like deadly ghosts, striking command ships and support vessels with surgical precision. Dr. Park Soo-jin monitored the battle from her laboratory, watching as humanity's greatest scientific achievement changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever. 15 years of secret research had led to this moment. The mastery of dark matter had given humanity weapons that existed beyond the aliens' ability to detect or counter. "Captain, the alien fleet is trying to retreat," Song Yuna reported. "Several ships are attempting to break formation and escape." "Not today," Li Wan replied firmly. "Dr. Park, activate the gravitational containment system." The human fleet created a localized distortion in space-time using their dark matter technology. The alien ships found themselves trapped in a gravitational well that made escape impossible. The hunters had become the prey, caged and helpless before humanity's superior understanding of the universe's hidden forces. Commander Nexus stared at his tactical display in disbelief. His mighty fleet, the pride of 12 galactic civilizations, was being systematically destroyed by 13 human vessels. Ships that had seemed primitive and worthless were revealing themselves to be the most advanced warships the galaxy had ever seen. "All ships, surrender immediately," came a transmission from the UES Thunderbolt. "Further resistance is futile. Your technology cannot match ours." The greatest military force in galactic history found itself at the mercy of the species they had come to exterminate. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as humanity proved that intelligence and innovation could triumph over ancient arrogance and superior numbers. The age of council dominance was ending. A new power had risen among the stars. The surviving ships of the Galactic Council's once mighty armada limped away from Earth in defeat. Their hulls bore scars from weapons that should not have existed, their crews traumatized by an enemy they could not understand. But Captain Li Huan had no intention of letting them escape, to regroup and plan another attack. "All ships, pursue the retreating vessels," Li Huan commanded, from the bridge of the EU's Thunderbolt. "We cannot allow them to return to their homeworlds with intelligence about our capabilities." The 13 human dark matter warships phase-jumped through space, their revolutionary drives allowing instantaneous travel across vast distances. What would have taken the alien ships weeks to traverse, the human fleet covered in hours. The retreating council forces found themselves overtaken by an enemy that moved like ghosts through the galaxy. Lieutenant Commander Song Yuna monitored the tactical display as human ships appeared throughout council space. "Sir, we're receiving reports from all sectors. Our fleet is engaging enemy forces at Vexstar Prime, the Keth Morin shipyards, and the Nauthic research stations." Dr. Park Soo-jin worked frantically in her laboratory, coordinating the dark matter systems across the entire human fleet. Technology that had taken 15 years to develop was now being deployed on a galactic scale. "Captain, the dark matter network is operating perfectly," Dr. Park reported. "Each ship is maintaining dimensional stability while operating in enemy territory. The aliens still cannot detect our true positions." Engineer Choi Minho monitored power distribution as the ship's systems handled combat operations. Light years from Earth, the dark matter reactors provided unlimited energy, allowing the human ships to maintain peak performance regardless of distance from their base. "Sir, we're approaching the Vexstar homeworld," Choi Minho announced. "Their planetary defense grid is activating." The Vexstar homeworld had never been successfully attacked in over 2,000 years. Massive orbital platforms bristled with plasma cannons capable of melting continents. Quantum shield generators protected the planet from any conceivable assault. The Vexstar had built their defenses, assuming that conventional warfare would always follow predictable patterns. Commander Nexus had somehow managed to reach his homeworld ahead of the human pursuit, his damaged dreadnought barely holding together. He stood in the planetary command center, desperately trying to coordinate a defense against an enemy that operated beyond their understanding. "Activate all defensive systems, Nexus ordered. Deploy the quantum barrier grid around the entire planet. Nothing can penetrate our shields. The UES Thunderbolt materialized within the Vexstar defense perimeter, having phased through the quantum barriers as if they were empty space. The alien shields were designed to stop attacks from normal dimensions. But dark matter weapons existed primarily outside conventional space-time. Impossible, Nexus screamed, as human ships appeared throughout his carefully constructed defense grid. How can they bypass our quantum barriers? Captain Li Wan's voice echoed through the Vexstar command center as he opened a communication. Channel, your barriers protect against conventional attacks, Commander. But you cannot shield against forces that exist in dimensions you've never discovered. The first dark matter torpedo struck the primary orbital platform directly. The massive structure, larger than most space stations, simply ceased to exist as the weapon's exotic payload unraveled the bonds holding matter together at the quantum level. Secondary platforms followed, their quantum armor providing no protection. Against attacks that bypassed conventional physics entirely, Admiral Kim Tae-ho coordinated the multi-front assault from Earth's command center. His tactical displays showed human ships operating simultaneously across dozens of Council worlds. For the first time in galactic history, the Council's member species found themselves fighting for survival on their own territory. Report from the Kethmoran sector in 8 announced. Captain Park Jin-woo has successfully neutralized their gravity weapon foundries. The facilities that produced their most advanced weapons no longer exist. And the Nalthic research stations. Admiral? Kim asked. Captain Yoon Sora reports complete success. The ancient technology archives have been secured. We now have access to thousands of years of Council scientific data. On the Nalthic homeworld, Overseer Kronos watched in horror as human ships materialized within his most secure facilities. The research stations that had developed their greatest weapons were being systematically captured by an enemy that seemed to exist partially outside reality. How can this be happening? Kronos demanded of his advisors. We are the eldest race in the galaxy. Car technology has ruled for millennia. His science minister cowered before the ancient being's rage. Overseer, the humans have developed something. Beyond our understanding, they manipulate forces that we never knew existed. Our greatest scientists cannot even detect their weapons until they strike. Lieutenant Commander Song Yoon, a coordinated strike teams that materialized directly inside alien command centers. The human soldiers wore armor powered by miniaturized dark matter reactors, making them nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons, while allowing them to phase through alien defenses. Strike Team Alpha has secured the Vexstar Weapons Research Facility, Song Yuna reported. Strike Team Beta has captured the Kethmoran High Command. All primary objectives are being achieved ahead of schedule. Engineer Choi Min-ho unveiled humanity's most ambitious project during the assault. Hidden construction facilities throughout, human space had been building something that would change the balance of power forever. A weapon so advanced that even the human crews had difficulty comprehending its full capabilities. Captain, the dark matter stellar disruptor is online, Choi Min-ho announced. We can now destabilize entire star systems if necessary. The weapon existed primarily in dark matter space, allowing it to affect stellar cores from distances that conventional physics would consider impossible. The threat of turning enemy suns into supernovas gave humanity a deterrent that no Council species could match. Captain Li Wan demonstrated the weapon's power by targeting an uninhabited system. In Council space, the star aged 1,000,000 years in seconds, swelling into a red giant before collapsing into a white dwarf. The display of power was visible to every Council world. A clear message that humanity now controlled forces beyond their imagination. Attention. All Council species, Li Wan broadcast across the galaxy. Your age of dominance is over. For too long, you have bullied younger races into submission. You threatened us with extinction because you believed we were weak and primitive. The transmission reached every world in Council space, carried by communication networks that the human ships had quietly infiltrated during their assault. We gave you the chance for peaceful coexistence, Li Wan continued. You chose war instead. Now you face the consequences of underestimating humanity. Your fleets are destroyed, your weapons are useless, and your worlds are at our mercy. Dr. Park Sujin monitored the galactic communication networks as panic spread throughout Council space. Species that had never known defeat suddenly found themselves helpless before an enemy they had dismissed as primitive. Captain, we're receiving surrender requests from 6 different Council species, Dr. Park reported. They're requesting terms for immediate ceasefire. Tell them to wait, Li Huan replied. We haven't finished demonstrating what happens to those who threaten Earth's children. The human fleet continued its systematic dismantling of Council military power. Each species learned that their greatest weapons and strongest defenses meant nothing against humanity's mastery of dark matter physics. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the established order collapsed within hours. The Council's threats of human extinction had been turned back upon them, and they found themselves begging for mercy from the species they had planned to destroy. Humanity had risen from the threatened to the dominant power in the galaxy, and the universe would never be the same.